In this tutorial, I'll show you how to use the left panel. There are 3 sections. Use the YouTube chapters to skip directly to any section. In the left panel, you have 3 views: the circle of fifths, journey to mastery, and the lessons panel. You can resize the panel by dragging on the dividing lines between the 2 panels. Resize the bottom panel by dragging on any of these 2 lines here. In the circle of fifths, you load the scale that you want to work on. Tessitura always have a scale loaded into the interface. To load a scale, open the scale catalog and then drag the scale and drop it inside the circle. If you want to mark the scale as a favorite, use this button. That will help you find your favorite scales in the catalog later on. Use these buttons to cycle through the different modes in the scale, and use these buttons to change the root of the scale. When you lock the modes with the key, then you'll find all the modes related to the initial key: C Ionian, G mixo, and so on. If you turn the lock off, then you'll find all the modes but keep the same root: C Ionian, C mixo, C Dorian, and so on. You can also rotate the notes with the outer controller and the modes with the inner controller. And if you turn the lock on, you can see how both will rotate together. Listen to the scale with this button. And toggle sharps and flats with this button. In the Scale Info tab, you can switch from note labels to degrees, and if you pair the scale with a chord, you can also see chord tones and tensions. You also have the different formulas for the scale and the amount of notes, amount of modes, and possible transpositions. If you are in a mode, you can see which is the source scale, and load it with this button. Source scales have an orange header, and modes of a source are gray. The mode number is indicated here, and you'll see an S if the scale is the source. If you don't pair the scale with any chord, then you can practice the pure scale with just a metronome backing track and no harmonic context. If you pair the scale with a chord, then you'll turn it into a chord scale, and every scale will have a different list of chord types that you can pair it with. The pop-up shows the available chord symbols without the root. After you select a chord, you can now click on the I button to see it inside the circle. And now you can load the chord tones versus tensions notation into the circle with this button. Remember, notes that belong to the chord are known as chord tones, while the other notes are now tensions. Now when you hit play, the app will now play an accompaniment track with chords, drums, and bass. Choose block chords to hear the chords without any groove. It's perfect for just focusing on the line's harmonic context. Finally, you can load a substructure inside the scale to explore them and create upper structure exercises if you want. To load a substructure, open the substructures catalog with this button, and then drag and drop the scale that you want to use into the substructures panel. Notice that the catalog now shows only scales that fit inside your current scale. You can view how they all fit inside your main scale with this button, or choose to see one by unchecking all and cycling through all the possibilities with this button. And you can see on which degrees of your main scale they appear. If you want to use the substructure as an upper structure in your exercise, check Use. Now you'll see the exercise using the structure that you want on top of the main structure. And if you hit play, the app will still play the accompaniment based on the chord scale, but the exercise will use the upper structure. If you want to master any scale, you can switch to Journey to Mastery. In here, you'll find a set of exercises from beginner to advanced that you can use to master the current scale. So if I have Mixolydian loaded, then when I switch to Journey to Mastery, it will show me all exercises for Mixolydian. And you can load any scale from the 2048 scales and start your journey to mastery for that scale. Load the exercise with this button. You'll see the Journey to Mastery icon appear next to the play button, indicating that Tessitura is tracking and saving your progress. You can always turn this mode off with this button, and Tessitura will go back to regular mode. To go back to Journey to Mastery mode, just load any exercise from the Journey list. You'll notice that Auto Increase Tempo is enabled, and the tempo parameters change. For example, if I load the Ascending Steps exercise, the current tempo changes to 72. Auto Increase turns on with a value of 20, and the maximum tempo changes to 200. So now, when you hit play, Tessitura will play the entire exercise at 72, and then auto-increase the tempo by 20 until it reaches 200 and 200 beats per minute. And as soon as it finishes each iteration, it will update your completed percentages for the exercise and save it. So next time you open the app, it will remember what you've practiced and choose the last starting tempo where you stopped. And that information is kept for each scale that you decide to start mastering. The exercise parameters are pretty flexible. You can adjust quite a few things to match your level of proficiency to make the most out of your journey. You can pair the scale with a chord to practice with an accompaniment track. You can also change the starting tempo for each exercise. So if 72 beats per minute is too easy for a certain exercise, just change it to 140 to skip ahead in your journey. You can also adjust the amount of bars for each key, so maybe you want to play the ascending steps for just 1 bar. Just change the bar count to 1 and practice the exercise with only 1 bar. Tessitura will still count your practice for that exercise as valid and save your progress in the journey. Tessitura also has video lessons dedicated to certain scales, mode sets, or other concepts. Switch to the Lessons panel here. You can open other video lessons in the Lessons catalog. We're constantly creating new lessons, so check the catalog often to see what's new. Watch the video tutorial inside the app. Or if you want to open the lesson on YouTube, just click the Watch on YouTube button embedded in the video. Every lesson has a set of guided exercises, and the exercises work exactly the same way as in Journey to Mastery. Click the Load button to load an exercise. You'll see the lesson icon appear next to the play button, indicating that you are in lesson mode. You can turn that off with this button. Tessitura will automatically set the starting tempo, auto-increase value, and target maximum tempo. Then it will keep track of your progress as you practice. You can also adjust tempo, bar count, and other parameters to match your proficiency level, just as you did in Journey to Mastery. And of course, the progress is saved. The next time you open the lesson, you can keep working on the exercises where you left off.